Picture a quiet Friday afternoon in 1970, somewhere in a bustling American town. Kids pour out of school buildings not with smiles but with a weary emptiness, trading their dreams for homework piles and endless lectures. Ivan Illich watches this ritual from a distance, school as we know it, a factory for conformity, not curiosity. What if this entire system, this colossal institution, is the real problem, not the solution? He dares to imagine a world where learning breaks free, thriving everywhere instead of just inside classrooms. Illich exposes how schools, rather than nurturing, actually confine learning. The tension isn't just a student's unrest, it's a whole society caught in the gears of institutional education. In 1970, Illich observed American public schools churning out standardized products, students trained more to fit industrial needs than to think freely. He noted how kids like young Joe in New York were boxed into age cohorts, forced to progress as a herd, crushing natural curiosity under bells and rigid curricula. Think of schools like assembly lines, desks like conveyor belts, time sliced into rigid chunks. You don't master subjects here, you march through fixed schedules that leave zero space for personal exploration. Illich calls this mechanism the educational funnel. Only certain knowledge gets through while the rest is squeezed out. The payoff? Society values diplomas more than wisdom, turning learning into a badge rather than a journey. Illich warns us, this system not only stifles creativity, it institutionalizes mediocrity by rewarding conformity over real insight. Suddenly, education feels like a credential factory, not a freedom. If schools are prisons, what does freedom look like? Illich imagines an educational revolution, networks replacing funnels. Here's where his vision starts to crack open the future. Illich envisions a peer-matching network decades before the internet, a system where you send in your interests and get a list of fellow learners nearby. No grades, no teachers forcing lessons, just real people connecting to share skills, from pottery in Pennsylvania to carpentry in California. A simple concept, yet revolutionary. Imagine a spider's web, not a one-way pipe. Learning isn't linear but an organic, ever-expanding network where knowledge flows freely, jumping from one node to another, each moment a chance to connect, share, and grow. The rigid school timetable? Gone. Time becomes your ally, not your jailer. The transformation here is seismic. Learning becomes something you own, not something assigned. It's active, playful, and deeply human. Illich predicted a rise of informal, self-directed education that matches what we now call social learning online, where everyone teaches and everyone learns. The big reveal, deschooling isn't just about education, it's a blueprint for a freer society. Illich saw schools as microcosms of institutional control. Tear them down and you start unraveling the whole system. Illich argued that institutional schooling reflects and reinforces the bureaucratic society. Central control, fixed roles, and passive compliance. Schools are the training grounds for institutional obedience, locking not just minds but entire societies into rigid hierarchies. But when education becomes fluid, rooted in social relations instead of rules, something surprising happens. People reconnect as equals, sharing knowledge for mutual benefit. Informal groups in Philly and Boston became self-managed learning hubs, igniting grassroots care and cooperation that defy top-down mandates. In the end, deschooling isn't utopia, it's about shifting power back into individual and community hands. When learning is a lifelong social adventure, societies become adaptive, compassionate, and more just. It's a radical idea. Education liberation kindles social liberation. Remember those kids leaving school drained and boxed in? Illich's vision invites you to imagine them instead stepping into vibrant learning webs, curious, connected, free. Try this, pick something you want to learn, no schedule, no classroom. Reach out, find a peer, and start exchanging today. Real education happens when it's yours to own anytime, anywhere. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.